She hurt you. She knew she hurt you. But instead of saying sorry, she went quiet, acted cold, or blamed you. And that left you asking one painful question. Why can she hurt me and still not apologize? The hard truth is this. A lot of people do not avoid apology because they are strong. They avoid apology because apology feels like loss. And when a woman does not apologize after hurting you, it is usually not because she forgot. It is because saying sorry would force her to face something she does not want to face. In this video, we are going to break that down clearly. Before we begin, the Stoic Tribe team is currently working on the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course for men that's coming very soon. It is built to help you stop chasing, stop overthinking, set stronger boundaries, read people clearly, and handle relationships with calm, discipline, and lasting self-respect. It breaks everything down step by step so you can understand these principles deeply, apply them in real life, and make them part of who you are permanently. If you want to become stronger in your mind, sharper in your judgment, and far more effective in love and life, comment the blueprint right now to be one of the first to know when the course is available. Now let's get started. Number 1, she protects her ego. An apology sounds simple until you understand what it demands. She already knows more than she admits, and that is exactly why she resists the one sentence that would bring truth into the open, because the moment she says, "I was wrong," she is no longer hiding inside the image she built for herself. And many men know this scene too well, because when you first meet her, she presents herself as self-aware, caring, deep, emotionally intelligent, maybe even more mature than the people you knew before. And that image is powerful. It pulls you in. It makes you lower your guard. It makes you think that if pain ever enters the relationship, there will at least be honesty. But then the day comes when she lies, or disrespects you, or becomes cold after using your time, or twists your loyalty into something convenient for her. And suddenly, the same person who once spoke so confidently about communication cannot bring herself to say the one thing that matters, because apology is not hard for the honest person. Apology is hard for the person who survives by protecting self-image. And that is the truth many men resist for too long, because you want to believe the good side you saw at the beginning is the real one, and this current side is temporary. But the moment accountability arrives, character is exposed. And if she instantly becomes defensive, irritated, dismissive, or strangely calm while you are sitting there carrying the weight of what she did, then you are watching ego take control of the room, and ego is ruthless when it wants to survive. It minimizes what happened. It questions your reaction. It makes your pain sound dramatic. It turns basic respect into a negotiation. It says things like, "You are overthinking. That is not what I meant. You always do this." I do not want to argue, not because she is confused, but because she understands that if the truth is allowed to stand without interruption, she has to look at herself without the filters. And many men spend months trying to crack that wall with better words, softer tone, more patience, more explanation, more proof, thinking she will eventually understand if they just explain it in the perfect way. But the painful reality is that understanding is often already there. What is missing is willingness, and once you understand the difference between inability and refusal, your entire life begins to change. Because now you stop wasting your soul trying to educate someone out of self-protection, and you start asking a better question, not "How do I get her to admit it?" but "What kind of person refuses to admit it, even when the damage is obvious?" And that question is dangerous in the best way, because it removes fantasy and replaces it with judgment. And judgment is necessary if you want a stable life, because without judgment you keep mistaking chemistry for integrity, attraction for safety, and words for character. And that is how many men get trapped, not because they are weak, but because they are sincere in a world full of people who use sincerity as a resource. And once you see that, you stop taking every denial personally, because her refusal to apologize is not always proof that you explained badly. It is often proof that she values innocence more than truth, and that must sober you up, because if she would rather defend her image than repair the damage she caused, then she is telling you exactly what kind of relationship she is able to offer. One where appearance matters more than honesty, where being seen as good matters more than actually doing good, where preserving comfort matters more than preserving trust. And if you keep staying in that, something inside you starts to bend, because every time you ignore obvious reality, your self-respect weakens a little. Every time you swallow a truth because you are afraid of losing her, you teach yourself that attachment matters more than dignity. And once that lesson sinks into your habits, you stop living with clarity. You start living by emotional hunger, and emotional hunger makes men tolerate what a clear mind would reject immediately. So the practical move is not emotional, it is disciplined. You begin writing down what actually happened without softening it. Not her potential, not her charm, not the excuses, just facts. What she did, what you said, how she responded, whether she owned it, whether she repaired it, whether the same thing happened again. And this single act of honest recording begins to cut through the confusion, because ego thrives in blur, and the more you define reality, the less power performance has over you. Then you build a private rule that changes your relationships forever. No deep trust without deep accountability, no continued access without ownership, no closeness with someone who treats your pain like an inconvenience. And when you live by that, you stop being easy to manipulate, because now she cannot distract you with charm when the issue is character. She cannot use tears when the issue is truth. She cannot use silence when the issue is respect. And this is where Stoic discipline becomes practical rather than decorative, because discipline is not just staying calm when you are alone. Discipline is holding the line when your emotions want to make exceptions for the person who hurt you. Discipline is refusing to plead for honesty from someone who keeps choosing self-protection. Discipline is learning to say within yourself and without drama, if truth threatens her ego more than my pain moves her conscience, then I must stop expecting peace from her. And that sentence can save a man years of false hope, because the hardest thing is not seeing what she is doing. The hardest thing is accepting what it means. And yet that acceptance is the beginning of freedom, because the moment you stop trying to rescue her image from the truth is the moment you start rescuing your life from confusion. And that is how this pain begins to turn in your favor. Not because she changes, but because you do. Because the clearer you become, the harder you are to trap. And the harder you are to trap, the more your future improves in every direction. And if that truth is waking something up inside you, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is linked in the comments, built for the man who is tired of confusion, tired of weak boundaries, and ready to understand people, protect his peace, and lead his life with discipline. It is filled with timeless Stoic principles that can start changing the way you think, respond, choose, and move through relationships immediately, especially in the moments when pain, attachment, and overthinking usually take control. It is now also available in audiobook version, so you can listen to this life-changing knowledge while taking a walk, jogging, driving, training, or sitting alone, rebuilding your mind in silence. This is not knowledge you borrow for a moment and lose. It stays yours, which means you will always have access to it whenever life tests you again and you need truth, structure, and strength at your fingertips. If you know deep down that your life cannot keep going the same way after what you have been through, get it now and give yourself something solid that will keep serving you for years. Number 2, she fears guilt. Guilt is heavy because it waits for her in the quiet moments. She can outrun a conversation for a day, a week, a month, maybe longer. But guilt is patient, and this is why so many men become confused when they watch her act cheerful, social, polished, active, almost untouched by what happened, because they assume that if she is not apologizing, then she must not care, and if she looks relaxed, then she must be clean inside. But life is not that simple, because many people do not turn guilt into honesty. They turn guilt into avoidance, and avoidance can look very composed from the outside. She can post, laugh, work, flirt, travel, start talking to someone new, return to old routines, and still be running from the one thing she does not want to sit with, which is the fact that she became the source of pain in the life of someone who treated her with sincerity. And that truth is unbearable for a person who wants the benefits of closeness without the moral weight that comes with hurting someone. So instead of facing it, she changes the subject with her whole lifestyle, and you are left watching from a distance, wondering how she switches so easily, wondering if you imagined the bond, wondering if the nights, the promises, the tenderness, the time, the vulnerability meant anything at all. And that question tortures many men because they think the answer determines their worth. But it does not. What it really reveals is how she manages inner discomfort. Because a mature person can carry guilt into repair, while an immature person turns guilt into distance. And that distinction matters more than most people realize, because once you understand that her avoidance may actually be powered by guilt rather than the absence of it, you stop building your healing on the fantasy that guilt automatically produces apology, and that is one of the biggest traps men fall into. They sit there believing that if she knows what she did, sooner or later she will return with honesty. But knowledge is not courage, awareness is not character, and guilt is not the same as moral strength. She may know exactly what she did and still refuse to face it, because facing it would require humility, and humility is hard for people who built themselves on emotional convenience. So what does she do instead? She becomes busy. She says she does not have the energy for this. She claims she does not want negativity. She frames your pain as pressure. She makes your need for honesty sound like a burden. She says she needs space when what she really needs is distance from guilt. And if you do not understand this, you will keep personalizing her avoidance as proof that you are too much, when in reality what is too much is the truth she does not want to sit with. And many men know the exact taste of this kind of suffering. You compose thoughtful messages, delete them, rewrite them, try to sound calm, then maybe you send one. And the response comes back cold, half-hearted, delayed, or weirdly irritated. And now you are not only hurt, you are ashamed for even bringing it up. And that is how her guilt gets transferred onto your shoulders. Because when a person cannot carry the discomfort of what they did, they often make the wounded person carry the discomfort of naming it. And that is why you need a different framework if you want to protect your life. Stop asking only whether she knows she hurt you. Ask what she does when discomfort shows up, because that is where real character speaks. When pain is named, does she lean in or disappear? Does she get honest or slippery? Does she seek to repair or seek to escape? And once you train yourself to watch that, instead of clinging to her potential, patterns become undeniable. And from there, the practical path opens up clearly. First, you stop chasing emotional closure through repeated contact, because repeated contact with an avoidant person often multiplies pain rather than reducing it. Second, you create a response rule for yourself: no serious conversation through emotional urgency. If you are triggered, you write privately first, wait, then decide, because urgency makes men speak from injury, while discipline makes them speak from principle. Third, you separate what you know from what you hope. Write 2 columns. In one column, put facts: what happened, what was said, what was done, how she responded when confronted. In the other column, put hopes: what you wish she meant, what you wish she would do, what you imagine she secretly feels, and then stare at the difference. Because many lives are delayed by living in the second column instead of the first. Fourth, you begin training your mind not to chase relief from the person who created the wound. And this is where Stoic practice becomes life-saving, because self-command means you do not hand the steering wheel of your day to someone else's avoidance. You still wake up with purpose. You still train. You still handle your responsibilities. You still move your life forward, even when part of you wants to sit in the pain and wait for her to remove it. And that is not suppression, it is order. Because without order, pain becomes identity. And once pain becomes identity, a man starts organizing his life around what happened to him instead of what he is building. And you cannot transform your life while making her response the center of your inner world. So you must reclaim attention as if your future depends on it, because it does. Read less into her delayed messages. Read more into your neglected goals. Watch fewer of her signals. Watch more of your own habits. Stop asking whether she is losing sleep. Ask whether you are losing years, because that is the real cost of getting trapped in guilt. Chasing dynamics, not one heartbreak, but the gradual weakening of your standards. And when you finally see that, something hardens in a healthy way. You stop reaching for sympathy where there is only avoidance. You stop calling emotional cowardice complexity. You stop romanticizing someone who treats accountability like punishment. And in that moment, you begin to grow up in a way pain alone could never teach you, because now guilt no longer keeps you waiting for her. It becomes evidence that she is limited, and once you accept someone's limits clearly, you stop trying to build your peace inside what they are unable or unwilling to give. Number 3, she wants control. Control in relationships does not always announce itself loudly. She does not need to order you around to control the dynamic. She only needs to keep you uncertain, because uncertainty keeps you engaged. And many men know exactly what this looks like, even if they have never named it properly. It is the delayed reply after deep intimacy, the warm tone one day and the distance the next, the unexplained shift after you show genuine care, the strange half-return after she has already hurt you, the tiny message that pulls your attention back just when you are beginning to settle, the casual check-in that arrives with no accountability attached to it, the online watching without direct honesty, the subtle signal that says, "I am still here enough to affect you, but not here enough to give you peace." And that pattern is not harmless, because it keeps your mind tied to her while giving you almost nothing solid to stand on. And this is why so many men stay mentally exhausted long after the event itself. Not because the relationship was always deep, but because the ambiguity never ends. Because a clear apology would close the loop. A clear confession would define the truth. A clear decision would allow your mind to settle. And when she avoids that clarity while still keeping some level of access, the result is emotional occupation. Your body is at work. Your hands are on tasks. Your mouth is talking to people, but part of your mind is still circling her, replaying details, watching for signs, trying to decode intention, hoping this message means one thing and not another. And that is how control works at a subtle level. It feeds on your unfinished interpretation, because as long as you are still interpreting, you are still attached. And as long as you are still attached, she still has influence, whether she openly admits it or not. And this is where many men sabotage themselves, because when she drops a breadcrumb after disrespect, they respond as if access is proof of care, when often it is only proof that she wants to check whether the door is still unlocked, and that difference can decide months of your life, because if you answer every vague reappearance with warmth, speed, openness, and hidden hope, you teach her that she can hurt you, go quiet, return lightly, and still receive your energy. And once that lesson is learned, respect decays fast, because why would she take the hard road of accountability when the easy road of vague access keeps working? And many people do not choose what is right when what is easy still gets them what they want. And this is where you need sharper eyes than emotion gives you. You need to stop judging messages by how much relief they give you and start judging them by how much responsibility they contain. Because a message is not repair just because it reopens contact. Repair has weight, repair names the damage, repair carries humility, repair accepts risk, repair does not hide behind hay after betrayal. And once you learn that, the whole game changes, because now you stop rewarding ambiguity. Now you stop giving deep access in response to shallow effort. Now you stop treating every return as destiny, and from there something powerful happens. Your mind begins to detach from her signals and return to your own standards. And that is not coldness, it is sanity, because men lose too much time trying to decode women who benefit from staying difficult to decode. And the more you chase meaning inside mixed behavior, the more you teach yourself to live without clarity. And living without clarity is one of the fastest ways to corrupt your self-respect, because it makes you compromise with what you would condemn if you were seeing it happen to someone you loved. So the practical correction must be exact. First, create a threshold for access. No meaningful emotional reopening without meaningful ownership, and keep that rule private if you need to, but keep it firm, because inner law matters more than outer performance. Second, when she reappears, do not ask whether you miss her. Ask whether her return contains truth, because missing someone is not a reason to trust them. Third, slow everything down. Control feeds on impulsive reaction. Discipline breaks it. When a message comes in, do not answer on the first emotional wave. Wait until you can read it without hunger. Then ask 3 clear questions. What is she actually saying? What is she actually owning? What is she actually asking for? And if the answer remains foggy, you owe her nothing beyond basic civility. Fourth, redirect your energy into structure, because uncertainty is most dangerous when your life has too much empty space. Set training times, set work blocks, set skill goals, set financial targets, clean your environment, reduce wasted scrolling, finish difficult tasks early in the day, because a directed life is harder to hijack emotionally than a drifting one. Fifth, develop the Stoic habit of refusing to negotiate with appearances. Do not let one soft message erase a pattern. Do not let one affectionate moment override repeated disrespect. Do not let one late confession rewrite months of confusion. Reality is built from repeated choices, and repeated choices tell the truth more accurately than emotional moments do. And once you live this way, you become much harder to control, because now she can no longer move you simply by reappearing. She cannot rely on your loneliness to open the gate. She cannot use uncertainty as a leash, and that change is profound, because men often think power means getting her back or proving something to her, when real power is reaching the point where your peace no longer rises and falls with her level of attention. Real power is reading mixed signals and staying unmoved. Real power is hearing your own longing and still choosing your standards. Real power is recognizing that some women do not want closeness, they want influence, and choosing not to volunteer for that position anymore. And this is where the pain becomes useful, because instead of teaching you to harden into bitterness, it teaches you precision, and precision transforms lives. It helps you see who is sincere, who is self-serving, who wants repair, who wants access, who brings peace, who brings confusion. And once you learn to distinguish those categories clearly, your whole future changes. Not because people stop trying you, but because you stop giving your inner world away so easily. Number 4. She avoids shame. Shame is deeper than guilt, because guilt says she did something wrong, while shame whispers that something is wrong with her. And many men miss this distinction for years, which is why they keep expecting a clean apology from a woman who is psychologically built to do almost anything except sit still in the full truth of what she did. Because the moment the conversation stops being about surface details and starts touching character, Many people panic, and she panics in a way that is familiar to anyone who has ever tried to hold a woman accountable after she has crossed a line. Because you come to her with a wound, and she acts as if the greater injury is the discomfort of hearing about it. You tell her calmly what happened. You choose your words carefully. You try not to raise your voice. You try not to be cruel. You try to give room for honesty. And still the whole thing starts twisting in front of your eyes. Suddenly she is talking about your tone. Suddenly she is saying you are making her feel attacked. Suddenly she is bringing up something unrelated from weeks or months ago. Suddenly she is asking whether you think she is a bad person, and the whole room fills with emotional smoke. Not because the truth is unclear, but because shame makes clarity feel unbearable to the person who is being exposed. And that is why shame avoidance is one of the most exhausting patterns in relationships, because it drains the life out of the person who got hurt and leaves him doing emotional labor for the person who caused the damage. And men know this dynamic with painful precision. You start a conversation hoping for one simple thing, honesty, and somehow 20 minutes later you are reassuring the same woman who lied to you, disrespected you, used you, embarrassed you, replaced you emotionally, or treated your loyalty like it was disposable. And you leave the conversation carrying your original pain plus a new layer of confusion because you are now wondering whether you were too harsh for telling the truth in the first place. And that is how self-betrayal gets normalized, not in loud, dramatic moments only, but in these repeated, subtle reversals where your need for basic accountability gets framed as cruelty, while her refusal to give it gets framed as vulnerability. And if you do not understand this mechanism, you will start editing yourself in every important conversation. You will soften truths that should stay sharp. You will over-explain so she does not take it the wrong way. You will preface every painful sentence with 10 disclaimers. You will spend more energy managing her emotional comfort than protecting your own dignity. And slowly, without realizing it, you will build a life where your honesty exists only in weakened form, where every important truth must first pass through the filter of whether she can emotionally tolerate it. And that is a dangerous way to live, because once a man stops trusting himself to say what is real, he becomes easy to shape, easy to guilt, easy to control, easy to keep in situations that no strong mind would accept. And this is why shame avoidance has to be understood not just as a personality trait, but as a pattern that can destroy your judgment if you stay inside it too long. Because when she cannot face the possibility that her actions reveal something ugly about her, she has two choices: either sit in that discomfort and grow, or escape from it by dragging you into confusion. And many people choose confusion because confusion is easier than responsibility. Confusion allows her to tell herself she is not really the problem. Confusion allows her to split the blame until your pain and her behavior look morally equivalent. Confusion allows her to say things like, "We both made mistakes," when what actually happened is that she crossed a line and then panicked when you named it. And once you start hearing that line enough times, you may begin to think maturity means always taking half the blame just to keep peace. But peace without truth is not peace, it is suppression. And suppression always comes due later in the form of resentment, anxiety, insomnia, loss of focus, emotional numbness, or the slow, humiliating realization that you abandoned yourself again just to stay connected to someone who is deeply uncomfortable with accountability. So the practical response must become disciplined and concrete. First, stop letting the conversation leave the point too quickly when she starts shifting into shame, avoidance tactics, dragging in old issues, exaggerating your tone, acting wounded by your honesty. Calmly bring the focus back by naming the exact issue in one sentence and staying there. Something as simple as, "That can be discussed separately, but right now we are talking about what you chose to do." And you keep your voice level because your steadiness is what protects reality from becoming emotional theater. Second, refuse to chase understanding from someone who keeps turning truth into a personal attack. Because once a woman repeatedly shows that any form of accountability makes her collapse into defense, anger, or self-victimizing, your task is no longer to persuade her. Your task is to decide how much access a person like that should have to your life. Third, build a written record for yourself, not because you need ammunition, but because you need clarity. Write down the events. Write down your response. Write down how she handled being confronted, because shame-avoidant people thrive in blurred memory. They benefit when you forget details, when you second-guess the order of events, when you start asking whether it was really that bad. But the written page keeps reality stable, and stability is priceless when you are dealing with someone who makes you question your own perception. Fourth, train yourself in stoic restraint, not by suppressing your pain, but by refusing to let pain make you chaotic, because chaos helps her. Chaos makes you easier to dismiss, easier to label, easier to turn into the real problem, while disciplined speech, measured pauses, and controlled decisions keep your dignity intact. And dignity is not some decorative word. Dignity is the force that stops you from crawling back into conversations that repeatedly leave you smaller. Fifth, become ruthless about one truth that many men resist because it hurts their hope. If she cannot hear the truth about her behavior without turning the whole situation into a defense of her identity, then she is not safe for closeness, no matter how attractive she is, no matter how sweet she can be in good moments, no matter how much history you have, no matter how intense the chemistry feels, because safety in a relationship is not built on charm, passion, beauty, tears, or words about healing. It is built on the ability to face reality without punishing the person who speaks it. And once you adopt that standard, your whole life improves, because now you stop choosing women based only on how deeply they can move you in the beginning, and you start judging them by how they behave when discomfort arrives. And that shift is transformational, because a man who learns to respect his own truth becomes almost impossible to keep in degrading patterns. He no longer spends his years trying to prove he is gentle enough, patient enough, loving enough to earn honesty from a woman who sees truth as humiliation. He stops volunteering his soul for that role. He understands that the answer is not to become colder or crueler. The answer is to become clearer, firmer, less available to emotional reversals, more loyal to what is real than to what is desired. And that is how shame stops being her weapon and becomes your teacher, because the very thing she cannot tolerate, truthful exposure, becomes the thing you learn to handle with more courage in your own life. And once you do, your standards rise, your choices improve, and your future relationships become calmer because you no longer confuse emotional intensity with emotional safety. Number 5. She knows you will stay. This is the point that changes everything, because it forces you to stop looking only at her and start looking honestly at the pattern you are helping repeat. Sometimes there is no apology, simply because she has learned that one is not required. And that lesson does not come from what you say after she hurts you. It comes from what you do next, because people study consequences more seriously than they study feelings. And if she lies, disrespects you, becomes distant after receiving your loyalty, toys with your attention, returns without ownership, watches you struggle, and still finds that your door remains open, your energy remains available, your affection remains accessible, then whatever disappointment she hears in your voice gets cancelled out by the deeper message your behavior sends, which is that your standards can be bypassed. And this is why many men live inside the same painful cycle for far too long, because they keep trying to solve repeated disrespect with emotional communication alone, while refusing to apply the one force that actually clarifies character, consequence, and once a woman knows you will stay, Even when she avoids accountability, your pain becomes background noise to her comfort, not because she necessarily wakes up planning to exploit you in a dramatic way, but because human nature adapts quickly to what it is allowed to keep, and if she can injure trust without losing access, she learns that access is cheap, and cheap access destroys respect faster than harsh words ever could. Because respect is not built only by how loving you are, it is built by whether your values are real enough to cost something when they are violated, and many men know exactly how humiliating this realization feels when it finally lands. Because you remember every time you gave another chance after the same kind of behavior, every time you accepted half explanations, every time you listened to tears without seeing changed conduct, every time you reopened the door because you missed her, every time you told yourself patience was strength when it was really fear of letting go dressed up as virtue, and that realization hurts because it strips away the fantasy that loyalty by itself transforms people. Loyalty does not transform someone who has no incentive to change. Often it only teaches her how much she can take before you finally act. And that is why this point is not about blaming yourself for being hurt. It is about recovering authority over what happens after the hurt. Because while you do not cause her choices, you absolutely influence whether those choices become a repeated part of your life, and the path forward becomes powerful the moment you stop asking, "Why does she keep doing this?" and begin asking, "What have I been rewarding with my continued presence?" Because that question is sobering in the best possible way. It does not keep you trapped in her psychology alone. It brings your own standards into the light, and once your standards are visible, transformation becomes possible. Because then you can start building a life where respect is not a request. It is a condition of access, and that requires practical work, not just emotional insight. First, write your non-negotiables clearly and keep them few enough to matter. Not a long fantasy list, but real boundaries such as, I do not stay where dishonesty is repeated. I do not continue intimacy where accountability is absent. I do not reopen serious emotional access without clear ownership and changed behavior. And once they are written, review them when you are calm, not only when you are hurt, because standards built only in pain collapse under loneliness, while standards practiced daily become part of identity. Second, build a life with enough structure that her inconsistency no longer becomes the center of your day. Set waking time, training time, work blocks, reading time, skill building time, and goals that are broken into small actions you can complete. Because a disorganized life is vulnerable to emotional fixation, while an ordered life gives pain less space to become obsession. Third, train delayed response as a discipline. When she reappears after disrespect, do not answer from relief, answer from judgment, or do not answer at all. Take time, breathe, read what was actually said. Ask whether there is ownership, clarity, and evidence of change, because missing someone is not evidence they are good for you, and relief is not proof of safety. Fourth, separate chemistry from character with brutal honesty. Attraction can make weak patterns look deep. Longing can make inconsistency look mysterious. Nostalgia can make clear disrespect look repairable, but when you strip away the emotional smoke and look only at repeated behavior, the truth becomes far simpler. Is she reliable when it counts? Does she tell the truth when it costs her? Does she respect your reality when you are in pain? Can she take responsibility without punishing you for asking? And if the answer keeps coming back wrong, then no amount of intensity changes what she is. Fifth, make peace with losing people who only function in your life when your standards are low. Because one of the hardest stages of growth is realizing that some women do not leave because you became too harsh. They leave because you became harder to misuse, and that loss can actually be a form of protection even when it hurts. Because the person you lose may be the very person who would have kept you stuck in cycles that weaken your mind. Sixth, Bring Stoic discipline into your daily life in a way that is concrete and unromantic. Control what is under your command, your schedule, your habits, your speech, your spending, your body, your focus, your private thoughts about what you will and will not tolerate, and stop spending your deepest emotional energy on what is outside your command: her remorse, her timing, her awareness, her conscience. Because the more you anchor yourself in your own sphere of action, the less power her inconsistency has over your inner world. And from there, a different kind of strength starts growing, not the loud kind that boasts about never caring, but the quiet kind that simply stops making exceptions for people who repeatedly bring confusion, and that strength transforms lives because it reaches beyond one relationship. It changes your friendships, your work, your decision-making, your confidence, your standards in every area, because now you are no longer trying to be chosen by people who are not qualified to guide your peace. Now you are becoming the kind of person who chooses carefully where your energy goes. And that is the true reversal of power. Not making her chase you, not making her regret you, not getting some dramatic apology after months of pain, but reaching the point where her apology is no longer the key to your freedom, because your freedom comes from the standards you finally enforce. And once a man reaches that point, he stops wasting years waiting for women who only respect what they can lose. He stops turning his heart into a waiting room for accountability that never arrives. He stops bargaining with reality. He starts acting in alignment with what he knows, and the result is profound. He becomes calmer, more focused, less reactive, more selective, less hungry for validation, less available to emotional manipulation, more grounded in his own path. And that is how the most painful situations begin to turn in his favor, because instead of leaving him broken, they leave him awake. And an awake man is far harder to trap than a hopeful one who still believes love alone can make someone accountable. Most people will spend years begging for closure, explaining their pain to people who already understand it, and calling that love, when the truth is that a man's life changes the moment he stops chasing what keeps disrespecting him and starts building a mind that cannot be easily shaken. If you are ready for that shift, comment "I choose clarity," because that one decision can mark the day you stop living by confusion and start living by principle. Like this video and subscribe so more people find these truths early, and do not lose years to weak boundaries, false hope, and avoidable regret. And if you are ready to go deeper, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is linked in the comments, filled with timeless Stoic principles that can start transforming the way you think, choose, and move immediately. It is now also available in audiobook version, so you can absorb this life-changing knowledge while walking, jogging, driving, or training. And stay tuned for the Stoic Relationship Blueprint course for men that's coming very soon.